it seems you can do anything in American football short of using a Tommy gun, so you mustn't expect me to explain the rules.
Players wear so much clothing, it's a wonder they can move at all.
Great deal for all the players in the league and everything else. Go out there and play this ball game like I know you can play it. Let's go!
I have not any intention of moving the team. If I did, I would tell you about it, okay?
I'm sorry that Baltimore is brokenhearted this afternoon. I'm grateful that Indianapolis can rejoice.
All the things the Colts did and all the wonderful memories they've given to Baltimore and to the football world were here long before Mr. Irsay came on the scene. And I don't think it's fair for him to try and take our memories along with our team.
Indianapolis Colts. There's something obnoxious about the name.
This is Any Given Wednesday, the NFL podcast where two overseas fans delve into the NFL's glorious past in an attempt to greater understand its fascinating present. So, whether you're still struggling to tell an end around from an end zone, or you're someone who, when they hear the word refrigerator, thinks about William Perry before that big smeg in your kitchen, this is the podcast for you. I'm Tom Parry, the rookie wide receiver, still learning my route running and getting to grips with the playbook, whereas he is the veteran quarterback in the autumn of his years. Sure, his legs aren't what they were, but who needs to escape the pocket when you've got a golden arm, the heart of a lion, and a footballing brain that's 3 moves ahead of any defensive lineman? He's Hollywood handsome. He's cowboy tough. He just laughed at the phrase "big smeg in your kitchen." It's Mr. Mike Bubbins. Everyone.
Oh, yes, Tom, please. Oh, that man runs a skinny post like nobody. I can tell you that for nothing. How's it going, pal?
I haven't been called a skinny post in years, mate.
Yeah, my legs are not what they used to be. You're quite right. But I have got a good arm on me. That's a fact.
I believe it. I believe it.
I can throw the pigskin around the back garden there like nobody's business.
We've got to get that in the diary. We've got to get a backyard tossing of the ball around going on.
Oh, can you throw a spiral nice and tight?
It's all right, actually. It's all
good,
right. Yeah. It'll
I tried to teach you how to change it, but it was like trying to fucking push a rope, honestly. Pointless.
It's harder than you think. It is harder than you think to toss a football decently.
I can't remember not being able to throw one. That's the problem.
Oh, yeah. There you
started
go.
at a young age.
Did you ever have a tyre on a rope in the back garden? Because that was
like slinging Sammy Barr from the Redskins.
Yeah, that's what you want, isn't it? That's what you want.
No, I never did that. But I have got a cannon arm on me.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it.
Yeah. I'm not going to say Marino-esque. I mean, I'm not going to bring myself that much, but I've got the mobility of Dan Marino, put it that way.
Yeah.
After he had both his knees blown out.
Current day Dan Marino, yeah.
I bet he moves better now than he did when he was 25 because he got absolutely battered in the old days.
Week after week, yeah.
You know,
did you get to watch any?
On,
yeah, I mean, the state of his knee when they showed like his knee and it's the size of a balloon. It's incredible.
I know.
Incredible. Did you get to watch any of the NFL? Yeah,
well, the boys round. The Sunday night club came round.
Sunday night club in full effect.
And my old neighbour there, Tops of Vic, made his first appearance of the season. We picked him up and brought him up the bar to see the boys.
Oh, amazing.
81, going strong. Yeah, it was good. We watched. I can't remember which game we watched now. I think we watched the Rams. Did we watch a Rams game? It was a bye week, of course, for our beloved Packers, so the pressure was off slightly.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about bye weeks because, again, that's something that is kind of unique to the NFL, or we certainly don't have it over here in our association football. And it's basically where your team has a week off, right? And every from week 5 to I think is it week 14 or 15?
Yeah,
teams can have time off. Now, why did that come about? Did that come about for a particular reason? Do you know, like the history of why there's a bye? Like I know why they're useful.
Because it's weird with the NFL. You think of America as being a very capitalist country where sort of socialism is a dirty word.
Yeah.
But in certain industries, they're much more
unionized.
Socialist. Yeah, heavily. So in our business, in like comedy and acting, over there, it's heavily unionized.
Yeah.
And the upshot is they get paid a lot better for what they do. And it's sort of, one out, all out sort of stuff, which we haven't got over here, right? And the same in football. I think I read a quote once where when it was 28 teams, they described it as football is a socialist cartel run by 28 billionaire capitalists, right?
I like that.
Although 27 actually, because the Packers haven't got an owner. They were wrong. But it is very sort of unionized. The players, they got shafted for a long time. Like pre-1959, those players had a really hard time, and there was no real money in the game. There was certainly no money after the game. If you got injured, it was tough shit sort of thing. And all that has changed, and it changes every year because the NFL Players Association is such a strong union. Everyone's in it, and they pay a lot of money into it. And that goes onto ex-players. It goes onto legal battles. It goes for all sorts of things. One of the things was when the NFL wanted to go an extra game in the season. I think they wanted to was add an extra game in the playoffs, possibly. But it was adding a game to the schedule. So I think the NFLPA said, well, yes, but if you're going to make it was an extra regular season game to take the 17 weeks.
Yeah.
Of an extra length of season. So they said, well, if you do that, we need a bye week. So there's a bye week in there. Whatever they want. So like now you can't do kitted practice. You can't do full tackle practice in season. There's lots of things you can't do. You could do in the past because the union get involved with it.
That's it. I didn't know that. I didn't know it was down to players' rights. That is very interesting to me.
Yeah. Well, it's the same like with it.
It's useful to the team, isn't it? Because it's such an intensely physical sport. Obviously, it goes without saying. But some players are playing on a short week. Some teams are playing late night on the Sunday night football, and then again on Thursday night football. Or there's Monday night football now. So the rate of recovery that these bodies have to go through is insane.
Well, you think they used to be? Preseason games were much more full on. The draft was, you had a lot more picks in the draft. There was a lot more stuff to get through. Much smaller squads. There used to be 40 at one point, it was like 53 now. And there was no bye week. And you would, certain coaches especially would beast you full contact in the midweek as well. So none of that happens now. So it has moved that way. So the bye week is essentially It's to allow the season to be longer for advertising reasons. Yeah. It's to give the players a week off. It's also, I think that 17-game season, the idea behind that is that you end up with 8 games on the road. And your other, in inverted commas, home game is going to be an international game.
Oh, yeah, of course. Game. Yeah.
They're trying to play like Germany and Brazil and, all over the place. So that's part of it as well. Yeah, but the downside is, of course, mate, we had no football this week for you and I.
And that is anyway. Especially when you've waited such a long time through the year to get to the season, because like we've talked about, it's such a long off season. It finally happens, and then the bye week does feel like the stones. Well,
that's for the extra game, because you imagine if you like you said, you wait that long. It's such an intense season. You've only got 8 home games.
Yeah.
If one of those is in London or Berlin, you're like, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I got 8 games and I've got 7 now, or I get on a plane. So yeah, that's what that's for, to have 8 home. So you'd only have an international game when you are, as a home team, you'll still have 8 home games.
Right.
One of your home games will be abroad.
The other thing that I noticed this week, talking about football, was I know we've talked about in the past about how good the NFL is about creating narratives.
Yeah.
And there was a great narrative last week where the Patriots quarterback, Drake May, who was a rookie last year, and everyone was like, there's potential in this guy, and we're starting to believe him in a quarterback. He had what people, have deemed like the breakout game. It was like a star is born kind of performance. Yeah. And it's like now
you be very careful with that.
Yeah, that's what I'm just trying to I'm fascinated by that, because you're looking at these very young players who are, he's fucking 13 games into his professional career, And he has this incredible performance where they beat the Buffalo Bills. And now the narrative is this is a great, this guy could be the next great quarterback. And, and
that's a
suddenly
long old road that. But you and I could, even since you've been a football fan, Tim Tebow was going to be the next big thing.
Yeah.
RG3 was going to be the next big thing.
Yeah.
All these, it happens. You come in, you have a couple of good games, or in this case, one really good game. Next thing you're the future of the franchise.
Yeah, that's it.
Just back up a little bit. Because what happened, in the old days, that's the reason that they brought in restriction on rookie contracts was all this hype out of college. The only way to sort of sign the superstar, Heisman Trophy winning quarterback was to pay him ridiculous money.
Yeah. Okay.
Which pissed all the veterans off.
Oh, it would.
Knackered your salary cap. And then they go in and they realize, the NFL's really hard. And it's not the same as playing for Michigan or playing for fucking Alabama, right?
Yeah.
So that they've stopped that now. So there's a restriction on that first year of contract with paying players. And then in the second year is where they sort of, that's your money year then. You're out with that sort of rookie year. But you've got to, it's weird, mate. I mean, like, we're Packers fans, right?
Yeah.
Jordan Love, he's just not getting it done. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
And I really,
And he's good. He's decent.
Good.
But can he be great? And it's like,
well, he's the next. He's going to eclipse Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, is he? Because he's not doing that at the moment. Well, the case in point, mate, the real talking point for me this season has been Mahomes and the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a fall from grace, right?
And the other thing that's happening, which I find quite interesting, is there are quarterbacks who are currently excelling in the NFL, who are on their third or fourth club, who were written off, like quarterbacks like Sam Darnold, who's now at the Seahawks, or Baker Mayfield, who's now at the Bucks. Baker Mayfield's becoming one of the best quarterbacks in the league consistently.
You know why, didn't you?
Why is that?
That throwback uniform, Tom.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
Uniform in the National Football League.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
What were they ever thinking of changing that?
Yeah. He looks amazing. And he's playing this
great.
kind of old school form of quarterback as well, where he's kind of taking the hits, he's riding through tackles, and then he's slinging it. He's kind of like...
And it obviously suits his game, right? And that's what happens. You'll sometimes bounce around the league and then suddenly, oh shit, what have we got here?
Yeah, and it's and Daniel Jones is stepping in at the 49ers, and it's like these are all guys who 12 months into their career as rookie quarterbacks were written off, were binned off, were called busts, and it is so brutal, the kind of the window that you have to prove that you can cut the mustard, and before you get binned off or before you're seen as a perennial backup, and then 2 clubs down the line. Like Daniel Jones now is playing out of his skin, and it's like, he could be a starting quarterback actually. And it's like, of course he always had the skills, but the actual length of time you have to prove yourself, like looking at it from a comedy point of view. I mean, God, we went through. You have to go through 3 or 4, 5, 6 years of.
Oh, it's like doing Edinburgh for your first gig, with all the reviewers in. Yeah.
Smashed it.
It is.
Of course you did, Bob. No problem. What are you talking about?
I'm like, smashed it, but I didn't, by the way. I thought I did, but they all disagreed. Some quite forcibly.
And the audience vocally. I mean, it was...
well, you call it an audience.
But I find all of that fascinating. Basically,
you're so right about the fact that there's such a limited. Obviously, you've been scouted since high school if you're any good, and you've got recruited for college, and you've had people watching, and you've got combines and all that stuff. But all that stuff, when it all shakes down, you get drafted or you don't get drafted, or you might get a free agent place. You have so little time, and you got to remember as well. An awful lot of people don't want you to do well. Yeah, it's not in it's in. It must be so hard being a rookie. I like reading there's too much money in the league these days. But when you read books like Paper Lion, was it when he went to book from the 60s when the fella went and worked out with the Detroit Lions back in the day.
Oh yeah,
But you read about this the experiences the rookies have in the NFL. It's a tough, they don't want you there. The veterans don't want you there because you're going to take one of their mates' places. They certainly don't want to make you more money than them because they've been busting their balls for 4 years. Why are you making more money than me? So it's a tough way to make a living. And you've got the way that it's covered these days. Every game in minute detail, everything's online, everything streams. You've got Red Zone. If you fuck up in the NFL now, everyone knows about it straight away. And you can keep watching it online. You can watch that fuck up non-stop all week.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen in the old days. That wasn't the case in the old days.
Yeah.
So I think you've got
6 people are stood around a table talking about it every morning on morning TV on NFL.
NFL Network is a 24-hour news channel.
Broken down
so,
constantly.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
So it's fascinating. That's it. And like I am going to be fascinated to be following Drake May particularly in the Patriots, where Brady obviously is the template for success. It's going to be fascinating how you play under that kind of. It's fair play. It really is.
He's no Tom Brady, mate. Of course he isn't. You could be the second best player ever and be no Tom Brady.
Yeah, it's a tough spot. It's a tough spot to be at the
and then certain places are notoriously difficult, like New York. Notoriously difficult place to get on because they will jump on you. Other places you probably got a bit more time. But I mean, New York, even by NFL standards, you've got no time.
Yeah, I mean, we saw what the fans were like at the golf at the Ryder Cup. You imagine putting them in a football stadium. That's absolutely brutal place. Absolutely brutal.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see. But I do like. I mean, it is worth following. For any listeners who want to look into it, like there are 3 or 4 kind of quarterbacks who were written off who are starting to prove that they can actually play the guitar.
There's been quarterbacks back in the day that I always think of Doug Flutie, right?
Oh yeah,
Doug Flutie came out of Boston College. Best college football. And he was one of those metrics, like Brady, you're too small, you're too short to be a quarterback in the National Football League. Okay, because he was like 5'7" or 5'8", whatever he was. So he went to the USFL, broke all sorts of records. In the USFL folded, came back, and had a good NFL career. But there's been lots of what's his name? Theismann went to the CFL. Warren Moon went to the CFL.
Yeah.
They're not even in the league. What's his name? Who's the fellow who played for the Tom later with the Rams? Greatest show on turf. Blah blah blah. Oh my God, Mike. think Kurt Warner. He was playing arena football.
Yeah.
He'd been written off because he was You need the chance, and then when you've got the chance, it's all gotta sort of fall into place.
Yeah.
And when it all falls into place, you've got to perform then, not next week, now.
And also, like, the weird kind of contradiction is your best young quarterbacks are going to the worst teams because of the way the draft works. Yeah. It's like, oh, you're the worst team in the NFL. Well, here's the best young quarterback. Yeah. So obviously, you haven't got a decent offensive line to protect this person. You've not got the greatest wide receivers in the world.
You haven't got a great running game. Your defense
you wouldn't be picking first. So like these incredible young kids are being chucked into dog shit setups and being judged on their first season. It's mental.
The saving grace there would be the fact that there's a reason that since Miami in 1973 or whatever it was, no team's ever had a perfect season, even though it's a short season, is that even the worst teams are probably not that much worse than the best teams. And there's a couple of exceptions. But usually, like, the old any given Sunday adage is because, there's no team in the NFL that's a nailed-on victory against anybody else on a Sunday.
Yeah, agreed.
If Liverpool
Absolutely.
play Exeter City, Liverpool will win, right?
Whoa. No. Hey.
I know you're living down there, mate.
That's Carabao Cup. You got to give us a chance in the Carabao Cup.
Well, Carabao Cup, yeah, what I'm saying. But if it was a big game,
yeah, I know,
right? Liverpool's first team against Exeter City's first team. No reflection on Exeter City. That's a nailed-on win for Liverpool, right? You can bet your house on it.
All right.
I can't think of an NFL team. I can't think.
Yeah,
the Chiefs. You know, the moment, what are they? 2 and 3.
Well,
so let's say that the Chiefs
we're in
play
week 5. We're in week 5 now, and there are no unbeaten teams in the NFL.
That's what I mean. In week 5, it's fucking mad.
Yeah, it's another year gone where someone isn't going to match Miami.
Yeah, after week 5, and that's most seasons. So the saving grace is if you are a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback and you do get drafted by the worst team in the league, they won't be that bad. And the fact that you're there might be the difference in them being not that bad and being a playoff team.
Yeah.
But like you said, you've just got so little. I mean, it's the same with coaching, right? They'll happily fire coaches.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter what you've done in the past, right? It is a what have you done for me lately league, isn't it?
Yeah.
And well paid for it, Tom.
If there's a game to look back on over week 5 of the NFL when you listen to this, then I would recommend you go and look at the Arizona Cardinals against the Tennessee Titans, where
I haven't seen it.
The Arizona Cardinals had a 21-point lead going into the third quarter, and they squander it away in the most insane way possible. So it's just definitely worth watching. And the coach has an absolute meltdown and nearly hits one of his players on the coach.
What happens?
So their running back, their backup running back, breaks through the defense, runs 70 yards to the end zone. And as he's crossing the line, flicks the ball forward in celebration.
Before he gets over the goal line?
Before crossing the goal line.
Oh, what a fucking idiot.
So it's a touchback. So he gives away. So they get the ball and then promptly go down the field and score.
I saw that.
And then two plays later, Tennessee Titans throw the ball and the Cardinals intercept it, but then drop the interception and then kick it between each other into their own end zone. And a Tennessee Titans player falls on it and scores a touchdown. And it is just this absolutely relentless. And it's like, you see it all the time in the NFL where you see the wheels come off and it's like a 21-point lead can suddenly just disappear because something shifts, and it's an insane watch. It's an insane watch.
I'll have to watch it.
Yeah, it's definitely worth watching because you couldn't believe it. It was great.
The problem with it's a nice problem to have because of like things like DAZN. So I got DAZN here, right?
Oh yeah.
So I can watch all the games in any game, right? Is you end up missing stuff because you're watching, because there's 15 games on.
Yeah.
I saw that clip of the drop. I didn't realize that they blown a 3-touchdown lead.
It's insane. It's insane. It's a great watch. It's a great watch.
I do love a good, and they do this very poorly in the NFL. And I know it's good. The ball, as a rugby player, the rugby ball is similar to a football, but a lot fatter, a lot rounder.
Mm.
And grass is a lot more forgiving than artificial turf as well. But when you see, and pads make things hard. When you can't feel your chest because of the front of your shoulder pads and stuff, it makes it much less tactile. But when I see a ball on the floor, in rugby, that ball is killed. A player dives on the ball, the ball's down, right?
Yeah.
In football, it's like watching someone, it's like a wet bar of soap.
It's like they've never played the game before in their life.
Like, have you ever seen a football before?
It's so
land
funny.
on that. Land on it.
Yeah. They suddenly just look like a bunch of kids, and it's like they go to pick it up and kick it, and it's just like it's fast. It's so great.
And because as well, if you play lineman in, Pee Wee and Pop Warner football, and then in junior high school and college, you've probably never held a football.
Yeah,
and it looks like it.
Yeah. You think surely you then practice every day? You'd practice that, wouldn't you?
Well, when'd you fit it in? I suppose, but it is like. Yeah, it's like they've dropped in like three blind mice, and you're thinking they're just trying to chase a ball with bells in it. It looks ridiculous.
When we become coaches, Bubs,
Not
we're
full
having
time.
loose ball drills at the end of every session, all right?
I should say so. Well, your loose balls are the talk of the circuit, mate.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, my loose ball drills are legendary.
And there's one thing you're known for, mate.
Drilling the loose ball. Well, they're the few things we've noticed in football this week.
Yeah.
Let's get into our correspondence. As always, we'd love for you to get in touch. Any given Wednesday pod on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. We've had some great emails sent in. Big shout out to Sam, who sent a lovely email about how the podcast helped him through a difficult time, and it meant an awful lot to us. Yeah, thanks, Sam. And it meant the world, you sending that message. So thanks for listening and sending all our love back your way. Please do get in touch. We've got loads of emails to work through, actually. We'll do that. We'll get into those in the next episode. But for now, if you want to leave a speak pipe, we're big fans of speak pipes. If there's something we love more than loose ball drills, it's speak pipes. And so we've got a couple of speak pipes to get into. So let's hear the first one.
Give us a big fat speak pipe, Bruce.
Hi guys, Rob here from Wiltshire, not too far from a school a certain Mr. Bubbins taught at, in fact. Love the pod, huge fan of the Seahawks and Bath Rugby. Became a Seahawks fan as I loved watching the NFL and just asked the missus to buy a jersey for Christmas. She liked that jersey the best, and suddenly I'm a huge Seahawks fan. 3 years later, we're winning the Super Bowl, and I thought, we'll keep winning them forever. Other than a Legion of Boom episode, I'd love to hear about the evolution of certain positions, such as the change in quarterbacks over the years, the style, and also how tight ends started being picked from basketball players, possibly after Dwight Clark, but something like that. I'd love to hear the history of certain positions, so really appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Loving the pod.
Nice one.
Great.
Interesting points there. First of all, Seahawks, yes.
Great franchise.
Lovely colour scheme. I prefer them to go, well, like most things, I prefer their old colour scheme in the sort of Steve Largent day.
You do surprise me, Bubs. What, you prefer things as they used to be? Bubs? Is that you?
Yeah, I just prefer the sort of more like the light blue with the silver, but that's just me. But it's a good kit. They're a good team. I've always had a bit of a soft spot for the Seahawks. I mentioned that I once had a Seattle Seahawks kit bag bought from Woolworths back in the 80s because that was one of the only one Mum could find. So I suppose your lovely wife buying you a shirt is as good a reason as any.
That's a great way to choose a team. Just pick a nice shirt.
Pick a shirt that looks nice, and that's a great idea. If that was the case, we'd all be Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans this season.
And I love
to think Tampa Bay Buccaneers would send us something, wouldn't you?
I know, we're putting it out there. We keep putting
if you
it
listen to us, Bucks, come on, do us a solid. Interesting. The quarterback has changed and changes all the time. That's the thing. Every time we think that it's the definitive quarterback.
Yeah.
We should do an episode on this because I think that's a really interesting question. Because basically, in the old days of the early forward pass, the quarterback very rarely passed the ball forward. He was almost like a scrum half in rugby where you got the ball back from the center and you pitched it out to people that's running plays. And then they brought the forward pass in. It was restricted in all sorts of ways in the start of the football. You know, you couldn't throw it more than, I think it was 10 yards forwards, and there was all sorts of different stuff. But that became the way most associated with football of advancing the ball became the forward pass.
Yeah.
You ended up with great scrambling quarterbacks like Kenny the Snake Stabler, Fran Tarkenton of the Vikings in the 70s, into the 80s of like the pure passing quarterbacks, pocket passers with a cannon arm, right? Like Jim Kelly and Dan Marino.
Elway, Marino,
yeah. And then in the 90s, maybe more mobile quarterbacks. And then into the 2000s, when they thought it was all going to go down the sort of Cordell Stewart route of like that sort of triple threat. You could run, you could pass, you could block. Yeah. And then Brady sort of goes back to a very traditional quarterback, playing a lot of shorter passing, a lot of crossing routes and stuff because of the other point that was mentioned, the evolution of the tight end. And Dwight Clark, that Niners team in the 80s, fantastic. And Dwight Clark was a hell of a player.
Is he did Dwight Clark catch the catch?
He's the catch.
He's the catch.
Yeah.
I love the idea of taking an episode out to look at the tight ends and the evolution of them, and
the quarterback. The quarterback would be a
both. Exactly. Well, and actually, I think there's a kind of a spin-off series where we look at a different position every few weeks and take one episode just to look at this is what this person.
Yeah,
does,
we can do it. We like
this
this whole
podcast. Changed. Yeah,
let's do it one week. Yeah, let's do that because I think the tight end thing's fascinating, and you are right that they started looking at. I don't know enough about basketball. I played in school like most British kids play. But playing in school means you pick, you divide the rugby team into 2 teams. You put them in a wooden sports hall, and you give them a basketball, right? And you end up winning the game like 3-1, right?
Is this your career as a PE teacher?
Especially rebounding in basketball. That sort of getting in the air, that 50-50 ball.
Yeah,
and you can see that people like. Big units like Gronkowski did this, Kelsey does this, is that put that ball in the air, especially when it gets so condensed inside the red zone, when everything's so tight, there's so little space. You want someone who can go up there against usually much smaller players, quarterbacks and safeties.
Yeah.
Where that's less of an issue. When you're on the 10-yard line, doesn't matter how quick your cornerback is, right? Doesn't matter. Or your safety.
Yeah.
What you want is a big guy with great hands who can get in the air and get 50-50 ball. So,
and I think as well the way Belichick organised his teams with 2 tight ends and really turned them into kind of offensive weapons, kind of slightly revolutionised it as well. I think we'll have to we'll have a tight end. We'll have a tight end special.
Nice
great speak pipe. Thanks, Rob, and keep listening.
Cheers, Rob.
And Seahawks having a great season, by the way.
Go Hawks.
Unless
you're in the Packers, in which case don't go Hawks.
Okay, as always. Let's have our second speak pipe of the week.
Hi, Mike. Hi, the other one. This is Glenn in Leicester. Big Miami Dolphins fan. Have been since the early 80s. So the whole Dan Marino episode and the Miami Vice link absolutely resonated with me. They were just the coolest team back in the day. Mm-hmm. Not so much lately. Anyway, you were discussing college player names on a previous episode, and I wondered if you'd seen the Key and Peele skits on Instagram, 2 American comedians who do a great take on college player names. I've sent you a clip. Hopefully you can have a giggle at some of these. There's quite a few out there. They had me basically wetting myself, and I can't stop watching them. Hopefully you'll enjoy.
Top man, Glenn.
Yeah.
Sorry about the other one quip there, Tom.
Oh, no, I like it.
That is based on my other podcast where we are widely known as Mike Ellis and the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't listen, but I've heard.
The Key and Peele stuff, my sister loves these, right? She sends me clips all the time. I have seen the college football one. It's very, very funny. There's a really funny one with the substitute teacher coming in as well. That's very funny. My favourite Key and Peele sketch, and I should preface this by saying they're 2 African-American comedians in America who do a lot of sketch comedy. Their sketch, when they both play slaves at a slave market,
right? Okay,
is fucking hilarious.
They're the best. They're the best. We'll try and play.
Glenn.
See if we can play a little clip of it now. I don't know if we'll be able to, but we'll be able to in post.
Good speak pipe though. Thanks to
great
to
speak pipe. Thanks, Glenn.
Thanks to Rob and the other one.
Yeah.
Ibrahim Moizus, University of Tennessee at Chattanooga.
Jack Marius Taxtheratrix, Michigan State University.
The Isaiah T. Billings Clyde, Coastal Carolina University.
The Jasper Probencrux III, South Carolina State University.
Leoz Maxwell Jilliams, East Carolina University.
Jamarison Lamar, University of Middle Tennessee.
Devoyne Shower Handle, University of Southern Mississippi.
Hingle McCringleberry, Penn State University.
Le Carpetron Duke Marriott, Florida Atlantic University.
The Dinklage Morgoon, University of South Florida.
X-Miss Jackson Flaxen Waxen, California University of Pennsylvania.
We're going to be looking for big plays all game long.
I just quickly on names. The name that leapt out to me this weekend was the Saints have got a cornerback or a safety who made 2 interceptions at the weekend, and his name's Kool-Aid McKinney. Kool-Aid, that's his first name.
Why not?
Kool-Aid McKinney. Oh, God damn it. That's great. I loved it.
Over here, we haven't got Kool-Aid, but he'd be like Lucas A. Lewis, wouldn't he?
It'd be Lucas A. Lewis, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Red Bull John.
Fanta Smith. Yeah. Umbongo Jones.
Dandelion and Burdock Jeff.
If you're old school, like Quattro Thomas.
Or just Milk Bob. Anyway, thanks for that. Thanks for your correspondence. Get in touch.
Walter Griffiths.
Old Walter Griffiths is here. Keep your emails coming in. Keep the speak pipe flowing, guys. And
big time.
Let's get into this week's topic. So now each week we choose a different team from the NFL, focusing on one interesting aspect from their past, however distant, however recent, great seasons, players, personalities, games, events. And so if you've got any suggestions for your teams that you want covered, then do get in touch with us. But this week, I found absolutely fascinating to look into. We are looking at a seismic event in the history of one of the franchises. We're looking at the Indianapolis Colts and the night where they stopped being the Baltimore Colts and moved to Indianapolis, an event known as The Move in 1984. Bubs, this is a fascinating story.
I mentioned this to you on a couple of pods ago. I knew the bones of the story, right? I knew that Bob Irsay, the owner, moved the Baltimore Colts to Indianapolis literally overnight. I didn't know all of the ramifications. I didn't know all the backstory. I didn't know where all the ways that span out from there. This should be a film. This should be a fucking
totally agree.
Film.
I think that's
there's everything in this.
I think we need to write this. I think we need to copyright our idea right here, right now, because it reads like an Aaron Sorkin film.
We're timestamping this, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like an Aaron Sorkin film. Like
it's got everything.
It's extraordinary. So, let's get into it. So the Baltimore Colts were one of the more successful franchises.
Oh, Johnny Unitas, they were like America's team.
So Johnny Unitas was one of the first one of the big kind of all-star quarterbacks. We're talking like 60s into 70s.
Oh, and he had the looks, he had the buzz cut, he was Mr. All-America, they were the team, man.
And they had Don Shula coach there for a few seasons as well. It's like but they won the Super Bowl in 1970. They were part of kind of the big breakout of football being a televised, sport in America, and people kind of shifting.
Well, a lot of people say that one game that they played in was basically the catalyst. It was such a nail-biting game.
Yeah.
That one Johnny Unitas championship game basically launched. It was always seen as the poor relation to college football. And football itself was way behind baseball. And probably behind, it was like hockey basically, right? And then that Johnny Unitas game changed football, and the Colts changed football. They were a massive franchise.
And a huge part of the identity of Baltimore as a city, a huge source of city pride, and a big part of their identity. And again, we this is a setup that we kind of don't really understand that much in the UK. I know some rugby teams have done it a little bit, but the idea that this is a franchise and that the franchise doesn't actually owe its loyalty to the city where it is based, and the city kind of has to earn the right to keep the franchise there, is how it kind of feels.
Yeah.
And it feels like Baltimore kind of weren't keeping up, so Baltimore played at a place called Memorial Stadium that had been around since the kind of late 50s. And so it was an old place that was kind of in desperate need of repair. It was run down. It wasn't ready to kind of make the change that the NFL was starting to make of like, boxes that you could sell seats to. And like it would, and they couldn't
extend it behind the goalpost, but they said we need like halfway line seats and boxes. And that's where we're going to make the money. This is modern football, right? We need to get those corporate packages, get those boxes sold.
And it was even like a case of like the players when they went to the bogs had to lift their uniforms off the floor because they're
listen to this in America. The bogs mean the toilets.
The toilets. So it's like there's running water all across the toilet floors.
Yeah,
and outdoor loos and stuff. And so the players had to kind of imagine being a professional footballer.
Which I imagine freezes solid in the winter over there.
Oh my God, it'd be brutal. And so Baltimore had let that go basically, and there wasn't money in the city to upkeep Memorial Stadium.
Well, they always said that, right? We talk about the intrigue of the whole thing. They said there wasn't the money there, but if you fast forward to when they left, the first thing that the bloke saying we haven't got any money for that sort of thing does is say, "Fucking hell, we better spend some money on a football stadium."
Yeah.
There was money there then.
Yeah.
They found the money then. So, but there's so many parts to this jigsaw, right? So, which I love. I was reading that. I've gone into a little bit of a rabbit hole, and I don't want to read it from a book now. So if I get names wrong and details wrong, I'll give you the gist of things, which lots of bits that's fascinating me.
Yeah.
So, for a start, when Bob Irsay takes over he takes over the Colts, right?
71.
From what I can gather, was the swap before that? The original owner's wife, Rosenblum, wanted to live in the West Coast.
Yeah.
So the LA Rams and the Baltimore Colts swapped ownership. They just swapped teams.
Yeah.
So my wife wants to go and live in LA. Okay. Do you want to come and live in Baltimore? Yeah, I wouldn't mind. Well, let's just swap teams then. So he goes over there. His wife, who I think she ended up with 7 husbands, right? Georgia Frontier.
Bloody hell.
Was the Rams owner. She ends up becoming the only female majority owner of a team in the NFL, right? In LA. And then moves them back to St. Louis and there's all that sort, because she was from St. Louis originally. But that whole story is amazing, right? But then we get back to the Colts over there. So Bob Irsay had a long-running thing with the league and with the city about improving the facilities and everything else. Yeah. They wouldn't budge on it. So he was openly shopping the team around in the 70s. And he was talking to, because the NFL was only 26 teams at the time, I think.
Yeah.
Talking to places that ended up having NFL franchises. So he went to Memphis, like Tennessee Titans country.
Arizona he was looking at, wasn't he?
I went to Arizona, yeah. He went to a few different places. Indianapolis was always one of those. And they sort of throw him a little bit of a bone in Baltimore. Like you said, they spent some money on the place. They did some new seating and stuff. But, it was always sort of piecemeal stuff. But they have that really committed fan base. And we'll talk about the marching band later. That's another story again. God. He basically had a guts full of it, and he's going to move the team. He's decided he's going to move the team. So then, and this is a league where moves had happened before, right? But they'd always been fairly amicable. There'd always been consensus. There'd always been quite a long, protracted affair.
Yeah,
but it did happen, right? So, especially as the league expanded westwards. A lot of teams like the Cleveland Rams went to LA, and the lots of things moved. The Chicago Cardinals moved to St. Louis, and all this sort of stuff. It had happened before, right? But it was the speed of it. Now I didn't know why. I just assumed that he'd had enough. But from what I can gather, they're going to invoke this thing called I'd never heard of before.
I think that's the title of our movie, Bubs.
Yeah,
I think the title's Eminent Domain. It's a hell of a title. Yeah. And so basically that is when a city claims something, they claim ownership of a thing so that it's for the good of the city. So the example I heard was like, if they want to build a highway and there are houses in the way, then they will be able to claim eminent domain on those houses.
Which we would call that over here compulsory purchase. You want to build a house, a highway. There's houses in the way. We don't want to sell it. Well, we're going to compulsorily purchase your land.
Yeah.
Right.
So
you have no say in it. The state does the say in it. We'll recompense you the market value of your house, but we have your house, right?
And because the word is out that Bob Irsay is looking, and just before we get to the eminent domain event, there's a couple of things to say, which is
loads of things.
There is honestly. I found that there's a podcast online that was actually made by the Colts called The Move. It's a 4-episode podcast. I highly recommend that. You can get it wherever you get your podcasts, and it takes you through the whole thing. It tells it brilliantly. But there's this incredible press conference where Bob Irsay is in the airport and all of Baltimore press are there, and it went out live on Baltimore TV that night, and they're all saying, you've just been to Arizona, you're trying to shop the Colts to Arizona. And he just goes, I promise you, I've not been to Arizona. I am not trying to shop the Colts. I haven't been there at all. That is an outright lie. He gets really aggressive. He starts shouting at the reporters. And then what you find out is he had exactly done. He'd just come back from Arizona. He had been shopping the Colts. This guy is absolutely lying through his teeth.
But what does he do though? So for Bob Irsay, he's a businessman, right? And I love sport, but I get the fact that if he says, this is the problem. Let me just digress for a second, right? Welsh rugby, I'm not going to go into
Okay.
We've currently got 4 professional regional teams, right?
Yeah.
Which may or may not go down to 2 or 3. They haven't said.
I'd seen that.
The problem is, because they won't make a decision. If you're in charge of one of those teams, what do you say to season ticket holders or
you can't just sit and wait.
What do you say to sponsors?
Yeah.
Right? So Bob Irsay's got to think, well, of course I'm going to say no. Because if I say we're shopping the team round, if I can't move the team, I'll have pissed off all the Baltimore fans, all the Baltimore businesses, all the sponsors, all the season ticket holders. So I have to say until the 11th hour, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman, right? You have to be.
With that city.
You know.
Yeah. And so that is going on. And so Baltimore are starting to prepare a legal case of how they can hold on to the Colts. So what they come up with is this eminent domain, and they realize, actually, if we can okay it through our Senate that you can claim eminent domain on a football team because it's good for the city, then actually we can actually prevent him from ever moving. So they put that through the Senate, and local politicians who really want to keep hold of the Colts put it through the court. So they start to put that into process, and it's reported in the paper. So Bob Irsay sees that and realizes, well, it's got to be not even just now or never. It's got to be.
It literally was like
today.
I think it was the 27th of March.
28th of March, 1984. And
was the move or was the hearing?
Oh, the hearing was the 27th. Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
So literally, and at the end of the 27th, end of the working day, he then thinks, "Fuck." Right? He gets in touch with Indianapolis and says to them, "We've got to go now."
And let's just pause here as well, because what's gone on in Indianapolis is pretty incredible. It's absolutely, it's incredible.
We can't get this into an hour, by the way. But
I was going to say that's it, because Indianapolis don't have an NFL team, and they've got a decent basketball team, but they know that if they want to kind of put the city on the map, the thing that would really do that is having an NFL franchise. So the mayor of Indianapolis has done what could possibly have worked out as one of the most mental things to do ever, which is he has spent $80 million building effectively an NFL football stadium without a team. So he has rolled the dice. They have built
just a bit,
They've built this thing called the Hoosier Dome, which, and this is, early 80s. This is where the Dome Stadium is kind of like the thing of the future. You've got
the one in Baltimore was originally going to be the Balto Dome, but that all fell through, didn't it? That was the thing.
And it's a bad name, the Balto Dome.
It's a terrible name.
So Indianapolis have built the Hoosier Dome, which could turn out to be one of the biggest white elephants in history. But it's like they have built this thing in the hope that
we're all in, by the way.
In the next 10 years, either the NFL will give them an expansion team or they'll be able to lure someone away. And there is this incredible detail, which is they had to choose the seat colours, right? Because they were building this team. They haven't got a team. And so they randomly went with blue and white, which happens to be the colours of the Baltimore Colts.
Is that real?
Honest, yeah. So when they were designing it,
I've just read about it and seen this.
So when they were designing it, they went, "Let's go with blue and white seats." So they went with blue and white seats. Then 8 months later, Bob Irsay starts looking around, thinking, "Where am I going to take my Colts?" He visits the Hoosier Dome, and he walks out and sees this sea of blue and white seats, and says, "Did you do this for me?" And they said, "Yeah, of course we did."
Big time.
and the mayor says, "In that moment, I suddenly realised we stand a chance here. Well, I think we're going to get the Colts." And he said it was up until that moment, it really was 50-50. And then he saw the seats and was so moved, and he said, "You did this for me." And they were like, it was absolute serendipity. They've chosen the right coloured seats. It's extraordinary. and the then coach of the Baltimore Colts was from Phoenix, loved Phoenix, obviously wanted to go to Phoenix. Indianapolis is mid-America. There isn't it's not a glamorous location to sell, you know. It is, you know,
and also it's really sort of basketball country. It's really sort of
basketball country. It's, you know, and so, you know, Phoenix was for a long time favoured, but Indianapolis had rolled the dice. They'd built this stadium, and it, you know, in this clutch moment when Baltimore had prepared the eminent domain defence, and Bob Irsay realised, we've got to go. If we're going to go, we've got to go now. Indianapolis were ready to say, "Let's go. We've got you a stadium."
So then you got the mayor of Indianapolis, Hudnut, right? Who's in on it as well, really wants to bring a team there. They speak to Hudnut and say, "Listen, it has to be today, right? How the fuck are we going to do this? Because they're going to take all our stuff, and then we won't have a team. We'll have contracts, but we don't have any kit. We won't have anything." So Hudnut is friends with a fella called John Smith.
It's his neighbour.
Who owns a company called Mayflower Transit, right? So the mayor of Indianapolis goes to his mate, John. He goes, "John, we need to send all your trucks to Indianapolis and load up a football team today," right? Next thing, this convoy of removal trucks arrive in the cover of darkness, right? But the local media get onto it and they start seeing what's going on here. They go to the training facility. They empty the training facility, all the kit, all the gym stuff, all the pants, all the clothes, all the medical stuff, all the office equipment, everything. Chairs, tables, desks, everything.
And it's just to put this in context, at 5 p.m. at the end of a working day, everyone starts to go home, and Bob Irsay holds back the key people. Yeah. He lets all the staff go home, but he says to everyone else, "Just stay in." Then he says, "Call your wives, tell them you're probably not going to be home tonight."
Yeah.
And then he says, "Right, listen, everyone. No one, this news does not leave this building. We are leaving tonight."
It's a 9-hour drive.
There is a fleet of removal vans. They are getting here in an hour's time, and we are gone. We're just going. No one.
So it's a 9-hour drive in a straight line, right? 10 hours in a straight line, right? As they're loading up, Irsay then thinks, because Maryland at this point are talking about bringing in possibly the National Guard to stop the trucks, because they've passed the eminent
domain.
Eminent domain that's been passed, right? So Irsay says, "Do not go back the direct way. Don't go back that way. Head into Pennsylvania, right? And we'll move across from Pennsylvania, right?" So
it's a heist. It's a heist. It's like
the trucks all leave in different directions, right? And they then rendezvous in Pennsylvania. Then they head across to Indianapolis, where they're met by the state troopers at the state line, who escort.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
Baltimore woke up the next morning and everything had gone. Everything had gone.
And people were coming into work. The people who'd gone home at 5, who weren't part of the move, were coming in to go to their job at the Baltimore Colts, and it was just gone. They'd gutted the entire property. And
Carpet, everything.
Everything. Whiteboards. And like the kit man was saying, you're just throwing things into. Imagine moving a house where you're given 3 hours to pack. The chaos that would involve. This is an NFL franchise, a Super Bowl winning NFL franchise. And they had to pack up and move in about 6 hours. And there's loads of incredible details. Like the only reason the press found out is because the camera equipment that they were using for like their training and things wasn't owned by the Baltimore Colts. It was owned by a video guy. And so they had to call the video guy. So they called him at midnight.
Don't tell anyone.
They said, listen, you've got to come and get your video equipment. And this guy was a dyed-in-the-wall Baltimore fan,
right,
born and bred in Baltimore. And so he got off the phone and immediately called the press. So at midnight, that's when the press found out. And it was because of the video guy. So it was like that was the route out. And then
there's a whole
on the perimeter.
There's a whole 30 for 30 doc about the marching band. They're one of the most famous marching bands in the league. At the time, the marching band's uniforms were in the dry cleaners. So the marching band's uniforms didn't get taken. So the marching band still had their uniforms. So they ended up being the Baltimore Colts marching band. They didn't stop marching, didn't stop playing. They didn't have a team. And they wouldn't go to Indianapolis to support them. So Baltimore now haven't got a team, right?
Before we spin that far forward, Mike, did you know this detail as well? Bear in mind, they're doing this in March, right?
Yeah.
And the season starts in September. So that gives them 5 months from relocating to starting. And Indianapolis had
July, June.
So Indianapolis had the stadium, great. They showed them the stadium. They didn't have any training facilities. They didn't have any facilities. So once they got to Indianapolis, they went to a disused elementary school. And so for the first season that the Indianapolis Colts exist, they're operating out of a disused elementary school and training on a school field that is barely big enough to fit the size of an NFL pitch on. So there was no infrastructure outside of the stadium to support the move.
But then the franchise system. So they're in legal battle with Indianapolis, the city of Baltimore, for years, ongoing, lawyers everywhere, right? Until the Cleveland Browns decide they want to get the fuck out of Cleveland. So where are they going to go? So Baltimore say, we'd love a team, right?
Yeah.
We can't call them the Baltimore Browns, right? Although Cleveland wanted to. Cleveland sort of owned the name Browns. So the way they had to do it with the NFL was, we'll call this an expansion team. And then we'll put the Cleveland franchise on hold. We'll give Cleveland another team called the Browns in 5 years' time. But we'll call the Baltimore, as they became the Ravens, an expansion team. Basically, right? That's how they got around it.
But the only way all of their players, all of their contracts.
So they're going to bring all the sort of team history, all that sort of stuff. The only way that will work, the only way that Cleveland can move to Baltimore is if the NFL sort of all agree to this plan they've got. At which point the Colts say to Baltimore, well, we're not going to sign this unless you drop all the legal ramifications against us.
God, it's brutal.
So that Baltimore can have Cleveland, Baltimore have to drop all the cases against Indianapolis.
And Cleveland are left being like, fucking hell, what about us, guys? That's what's insane. And it is this dog-eat-dog world, and it's this brutal capitalism is what it is. It's this brutal kind of landscape. But Baltimore knew the pain of having a franchise ripped away from them.
Yeah.
And then they did it to Cleveland.
Yeah.
they looked Cleveland did it dead in the eye and did exactly the same to them.
Well, that was the other part of the reason they didn't want to call them the Browns. There's so many Baltimore people, that's not fair. Let the Browns have the Browns. So Cleveland then literally have a countdown timer, a 5-year countdown timer in the middle of the city, to when the NFL give them the new Cleveland Browns, and they'll just take up where they left off. They'll keep all the records, even though it's completely different personnel. All the franchise records will still stand for the Cleveland Browns. There'll just be a 5-year hiatus in the middle of it all.
And when Baltimore got the Ravens, I mean, did they? I guess they built a brand new stadium for them, and
well, yeah, because exactly. So then
scratch.
they then find out that if we want to get Baltimore, we have to build we have to invest in a stadium. So the reason that they left in the first place was they couldn't get that stadium. And Baltimore then realized we're going to build this. So they built the stadium after the Colts had left. And then by the time the Colts, because the way NFL schedules work, the time the Colts played in Baltimore, and it was going to be a big deal for the first time when they came back, the old stadium was no longer in use. So they never got to come back to their old stadium to play.
And what's skewy about that is you think, like, the Baltimore Colts won a Super Bowl in 1970, but that Super Bowl belongs to the Indianapolis Colts history, not... So when Baltimore Ravens won ther first Super Bowl, that was the Baltimore Ravens' first Super Bowl, despite the fact that it was the city of Baltimore's second Super Bowl. It's mental. Look, we've run out of time. What I'd say is, if you want to get more into
eminent domain, man.
Honestly, Mayflower. Look, we've got to get into the storyboarding of this because it's an Oscar-winning film, is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's a fascinating story. The podcast's online. The 30 for 30 is quite difficult to track down, but it's definitely worth tracking down. And what did you find it in a book? Did you say, Bubs? You've been reading about this?
Yeah, I read it in a book ages ago. Then I saw that the band documentary a couple of years ago with my other podcast. I watched it as part of that, and that blew my mind. And then just reading about it online since we talked about today's podcast.
The event of it happening in one night is extraordinary. Extraordinary. It's like learning about a bank heist. The night that an NFL franchise was effectively stolen from one city to another. Amazing. Right, we've got to get out of here.
We've got to go, man.
We've been defeated by the clock. That's
get in touch with your just get in touch with us. I thought we'd run that 2-minute drill very well then.
That's actually, we nipped it, got it right in there.
All right, we'll see you next time, pal.
This field goal for the win, and there it is.
Let's knock it over.
See you next week, folks.
Later, pal.